is Talisha or Tal or Titi. And today I will be hosting, and I have four wonderful ladies along with me. And today we're going to be talking about natural hair. Woodland, your hair looks very beautiful today. What
Thank
is your
you.
take on natural hair?
I love
Well,
that.
thank you. Well, I think hair in general is something that is so important that here we are having a whole episode on it, right? But I think it's especially important for Black women, only because Black women are judged or feel like they're judged depending on how they wear their hair. So for me, for a long time, I thought beautiful hair was having straight hair. Professional hair was having straight hair. So at the age of 10, I know I begged my mom to give me a perm, and she did. So at 10 years old, I was putting strong chemical products in my hair to make it look more straight, or if you like, more white. Until I think a few years ago, and it started for me because of YouTube, because of the people like Taryn Guy and Natural 85.
Yep, Natural 85.
Yes, the OGs. So it started with them, and I just seeing how beautiful they could get their hair, I was like, maybe I could do that too. And I remember visiting my cousin in Boston, and she was telling me about her. I think she was her daughter, who was 5 years old at the time, asking her mom, when is my hair going to be as pretty as the white girls? So she was expecting her hair to become, and I think that just broke me. And I promised myself that I would not let my daughter get to that stage. And though I do not control that, I thought that it started with me. So
Right.
That's why I went natural. I never knew what my hair was like. I didn't remember. Again, I started this at 10 years old. So I didn't remember what my hair was like. I wanted to experience my hair, and I wanted to prove to the world that Black hair could be beautiful. And I wanted to prove to myself that I could be beautiful with Black hair. So that's my journey with Black hair. However, I still struggle with it. So I still go to work and wear my hair up in a ponytail most of the time because I'm scared of what other people would think about me. And I remember asking my manager once, I'm like, do my hair look professional? Does my hair look professional? And thank God he was a white gay man, and gays are mostly all about, because of what they've been through, they're all about being accepted for who they are. And he looked at me, he said, "You're beautiful. It's your hair. Keep it up. Like, do it. Be you." Right. And that definitely helped me, even though I still struggle with it today. So that's that. Garnet, I'm curious to know what you'll think.
It's just hair. Is a statement that I've heard. You know, I'm fairly familiar with. It's just hair, they say, and I mean, it makes sense because to most people, hair is just a physical identifier, like you have every other part of your body. So then, you know, when I hear that, then I think to myself, then why does it affect Black women so differently? You know? So to me, I believe just like you, Woodlene, I've had a perm since I was 10. And it wasn't even my mom that gave me a perm. It was my aunt. I went on vacation and I came back and my hair was permed. So it's just like you, I never learned how to take care of my hair in its natural, kinky, you know, way. And for those who like to know, I have 4C hair. So from being in my work environment and just seeing what is considered professional and whatnot, I have an experience. I have a very particular experience that I remember. Is one I usually I would wear my hair with curls, you know, braid it, take it out, and it's all curly. But one day I wore it up. It was gelled up. It was worn back, and one of my coworkers was like, "Your hair looks so professional today."
Wow.
So I remember thinking, should I be offended by that, or should I just go with it and be okay, thank you? You know, natural instinct as to not, start something at work. Thank you. That's what I went with. But should I have had to? You know, should how professional you look decide on how sleek or how straight your hair is? Um, I think not, because how can you define someone based on how they're naturally made? Your hair comes out from your scalp naturally kinky. That's not something you can help or something you can, avoid. So, is it just hair? Like they say, or is there more to that? What do you think, Japan?
I agree with you. I do not think it's just hair. There's so much more to our hair than our female counterparts. When we actually decided to discuss this topic, I thought to myself, I don't really think this applies to me because of it's obvious I do not have natural hair. I consistently perm my hair I do it every 4 to 6 weeks because for the simple reason that it's always worked for me. But when we decided on this topic, I stopped for a second and thought, Jifan, why do you perm your hair? And why do you do it every 4 to 6 weeks, like I said? And that's when I have to say that I realized that even though I say to myself it's because it's convenient, I am also aware that there might be some deep-rooted beliefs that influence that decision. Just I think the common theme tonight is that at a very young age we all had a perm. I remember my first perm was at 9 years old. It was for my first communion. My mom took me to the hair salon. I remember after getting my perm, I felt very different and very beautiful. I did. I remember it to this day. And from that moment on, my mom permed my hair. As I got to high school, I continued to do it. Here, I moved to the U.S. and I've always permed my hair. That's all that I know. I don't know how to take care of my natural hair, and I have to say I feel very guilty about that. But it goes back to, and I have shared that with you guys, the reason why that I choose to wear my hair how I do is because it works for me. As a mom, I work for the longest time. For the past 5 years, I work 2 jobs, and I have mastered how to get this look. I keep it short, and it just works for me. But at the same time, having a very young daughter who's 5 and she's going to be 6, I'm also well aware of representation, that if I can't really accept my own hair, because I'm not going to perm her hair. She has, I think, what we would call 4C. I don't really know because, like I said, I don't know anything other than permed hair. I do have to make sure that I learn more about our natural hair, because even now she's 5 and she has asked me questions just like your niece. She's asked me, Mommy, why does my hair look different? Why can't I have hair like, her little friend who's white and long? And actually, she has said to me once that she did not feel beautiful because of her hair. So my task is to learn how to take care of my daughter's hair. I'm not going to say that I'm just going to change my hair, but I know that for her, I have to do better. And I don't want any, I know that with the natural hair movement, I don't know if we really want to touch.
You call it a movement?
I don't think, is it?
It is. I feel like over
it
the
became
past few
one.
years or so, it's become more accepted. You know, more people are actually ditching what they call what did they call it? The crack?
Creamy crack.
The creamy crack.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's over the past few years, it's becoming a thing where, you know, you rock your beautiful hair. And I wish that one day I could find the time to do that. But for now, I'm just going to focus on learning more how to care for my daughter's hair, because I want her to feel beautiful. And even though I might not have, you know, my hair in a kinky and its kinky natural state, but I want her to know that her having that hair is still, it's the most beautiful thing, because it's her hair, it's hers, and she has to accept it. She has to accept herself before someone else can accept her. I know she's still very young, but I do believe in teaching them young.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
yeah, I do. That's basically how I see it. I don't have a personal experience with natural hair, but it is also my plight as a Black woman with a Black daughter.
Do you think,
Love it.
like, you know, you changing your hair to be natural would be helpful to your daughter? For her to kind of like visualize herself as, like, you know, being beautiful?
I have thought of that, but honestly, I think it's more important for her to accept her for who she is, like how she's still young to really understand that concept. I want her to accept, because sometimes it is a personal decision, the way that I wear my hair, and I
Right.
accept myself just the way I am. I don't do it because I feel more beautiful. I truly just do it because it works for me.
Right.
So changing my hair, I think it would help. It definitely would help. But I also want to emphasize with her that no matter how you choose, even if she had pink hair or green hair or bald head, I want her to know that it's a personal choice, and that's what,
Yeah.
you know, she can do anything. She can wear her hair however she wants, and it's still okay, because it's about accepting herself.
Right.
Yeah,
I
I think,
applaud you for that, because
yeah,
most people will look at you and say, well, if your kid is looking at you and you're not natural, how do you expect them to feel the same way? So I definitely applaud you for giving her the chance to be her own
Make
person
her
and
own
to
decision.
realize that it is up to her
yeah,
to love herself the way she is.
to make that decision for herself. And I think there shouldn't, you mentioned feeling guilty, and I don't think anyone should feel guilty because of how they choose to wear their hair. At the end of the day, it should be just hair. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
we made, because of our history, we made such a big deal out of it. But at the end, it should be hair, and you should be able to wear it however you choose to. You know what I mean? When like whatever color, however texture you prefer, whatever is easiest for you, whatever. Like we should not pressure people or make people feel guilty because of how they choose to wear their hair. We have bigger problems.
That
Yeah,
is
I do
true.
think that, honestly. And I, like, me, as far as my hair, I mean, I've had short, weave, natural. Now I'm natural, but I wear a lot of braids lately because it's more easier for me, I guess. It helps me as far as, like, you know, time wise. I get ready like faster, and I don't have to do much with my hair. You know, it's like 1, 2, 3 and go, and it save me sleep. To be honest, I'm able to stay in bed like longer, and I don't have to apply as much time. You know, getting my hair done, doing this or that to it, but like I think Jeffrey said it, I haven't really put that much thought into, like, you know, my hair, like, because it's never that big of a deal for me as far as if I would weave or whatever the case be, because I think it's my decision. I really
do not care what anybody else have to say as far as like, you know, my look. Because I think it's more so of a internal thing, like how you feel. And I mean, I do, but at the same time, don't care how other people perceive, like, you know, my outside appearance. Because if I'm comfortable and happy with, like, you know, my appearance, that's all that matters to me. So I choose to wear my hair however. So now, like, you know, I mean, for 2 years now, I've been natural, but if tomorrow I want to wake up and perm my hair, I think it's my choice. It's
Right.
not, you know, my workplace or my job or whatever it is. And yeah, I think like Garnet said, it's just hair. So if you bald, if you natural, if you have weave, if you have perm, I guess you're beautiful. You are beautiful, just who you are.
Exactly.
I mean, right. And that's one thing that you mentioned I wanted to emphasize regarding the natural hair movement is that I wish that people, most women would not make other women feel guilty because of whether they choose to be natural or not, because it's not who did it first. It's not a contest. It's whether you coming around to feeling comfortable with your hair straight or with your hair natural or with your hair curly, however you feel about it. I mean, look at Talisha and that gorgeous curl she has going on.
Right?
Yeah.
Like,
Look at
what do you feel about
Woodley,
this,
like with
Talisha?
that puffy. Oh my God.
Yeah,
You
I
guys
have
look
a.
gorgeous.
Thank you. Speaking of the big poofy hair, one thing. Well, let me just go through this first. One thing I do appreciate about natural hair is the versatility behind it. That's part of the reason why you know, I choose to be natural in this stage of my life. I've gone through so many different transitions. I've gone through so many different hairstyles. I I was obviously born natural, and then at the age of 10, just like most of you guys, I got a perm also. There's something about Haitian people perming their daughter's hair at the age of 10.
I
But
know,
like,
right?
that's
Most
what,
of
yeah,
us.
that's
They're
what
communion,
happened.
like they're
Yeah.
or Holy Communion. Anyway,
Maybe that's what it is.
I
Maybe
think
that's
that's
what
what
it
it was.
is. So yeah, so I got a perm at the age of 10. So I never really knew what my hair was. I was always curious about it. And so when I went to college, I just decided to go natural. You know, I really wanted to know what, it was a part of me that I did not know. And it was right there on my head, you know? And so I remember the whole process of learning about it, the whole process of like embracing that part of me, and the whole process of, I guess, like reconceptualizing what beauty is. Before, beauty was like long, straight hair, and that's not something that goes out of my head. That's not something that's not what I look like. And so like I had to accept that beauty was also kinky, poofy hair. Now having said that, like I know, just like Garth said, like there can be some pretty crazy people in the natural hair community that go after people for, you know, like specific hairstyles. You
Yeah.
know, people who like choose to straighten their hair all the time, even if they're natural, people who choose to like chemically alter their hair, you know. These are actually extensions. So
You can't really
thank you for
tell,
that.
to be
But like
honest. It looks like
It looks
yours.
beautiful.
Oh, thank you. But that's one thing I appreciate about the natural hair movement, if we want to call it that. But is that like now we have so many options in terms of like what we can do to our hair. Like a couple years ago, curly extensions did not exist. You know, hair that looked like we had to straighten our hair in order to have like longer hair. We had to get braids. Um, so I really do appreciate like the natural hair movement. And I also appreciate people who choose not to participate in that as well. Like that's their prerogative. And it takes a lot of strength to take that stance as well. You know, it's very rebellious. You know, it has its own like personality. It fights
Tell she's a
back. Oh my
rebel.
goodness, you know how many combs I've broken?
Me too.
Like, my hair is like fights back. It has a character to it, you know? And I know one of us, Sarah, who I believe, mentioned that like it takes some time to actually like do our hair. It takes some time to like maintain hairstyles sometimes. And like, you know, it made me realize that like I feel like so much of our culture is very fast paced. And you know, our hair forces us to like slow down and to be in community. Sometimes like when you go to the hair salon and you're sitting there getting your hair braided, it's a long process. And
Yes,
Four
you know,
hours,
it's,
5 hours.
5 hours, 7 hours, so it's time for like, people to like sit down and just connect and
Yeah.
socialize. Yeah.
That's a beautiful point, in terms of
It is.
how you can use the process of doing your hair as a community, because most people don't realize the beauty salon is where most people catch up.
Mhm.
And
that's
you stop
it.
from
Oh yeah.
and catch up.
Yeah.
And
And
what I've always loved and remember, like I remember as a child when I actually had natural hair. Do you guys remember how your mom used to sit you down and they would grease your scalp?
Mhm.
I used to love that, and
Oh, sticky.
that was also a time to. I felt like it was like a time to bond really.
Your
And I
mommy.
remember how my mom like used to wash my hair, and it's like even as a kid, it took a long time,
yeah,
Yeah.
but after you're done, you feel good. And well, I lived in a house where there were like a lot of people, so all the girls was like wash day. Like now that I'm thinking of it, that's what they do now. Like you get the
yeah.
natural people, like they have yeah, it's like all the girls, like it was the day on Saturday morning, everyone would wash their
Mhm.
hair. And that was the time, like, especially in Haiti, you know how it's obviously c'est not like, I'm gonna just say
Like,
in Creole, c'est not cool. And then everyone is there, and then someone is getting the water from the, what is it
The
called?
Well,
well.
Well,
yeah.
yes,
from the
and
well.
then like you pass
Mhm.
the shampoo. It was truly a time to like where everyone would just laugh about things and you're bonding. So yeah, these are the stories about hair. It's not just hair, but it is just hair, right?
You
And
know
unfortunately,
what it is, though, in terms of whether people saying it's just hair, it's not just hair. I think it's the fact that you shouldn't have to be judged or labeled or be mislabeled as unprofessional just because of how your hair look, or be, if you have dreads, it shouldn't be something that automatically be presumed as someone who doesn't have character, or someone who isn't educated, or someone who isn't able to do whatever position they're in. So
and
that's where the
Or
saying
even
of
someone
whether
who's
it's
dangerous.
that's right, because
exactly
that's what I
whether
feel.
it be portrayed as someone who's dangerous. So this is the saying of, if is it just hair? Because if it is just hair, then why does it come with all these misconceptions?
That's
I
right.
guess
And
like, maybe it depends on the person that's wearing the hair as well. Because when it depends, like if a certain
I love how you said that. It depends
ethnicity
on
is
who's
wearing
wearing
that
the
type of
hair.
hair, it becomes edgy or the
yeah,
look and
yeah,
style. So we have to kind of like highlight that point as well. It's not only um us being, I guess, the way we look,
yeah.
basically.
To what you said, Sarah, Kim Kardashian is an example of that. Fairly recently, she came out with cornrows, I think, and then articles came out. Oh, Kim Kardashian is bringing that look back, and it has always been N for Black people.
Right.
So what are you
What
talking about?
about
Right?
baby hair?
That's
You guys remember that story about baby hair? Like that now people like baby hair is a new thing. I remember from
Never
being a
been
little
a new
girl,
thing.
like with my cousins taking the toothbrush and going like
yeah,
this.
it has always been a
Didn't they
thing.
used to call it somewhere else, like d'enfance or something?
Yeah,
Was
that's what
it?
we call it.
Right.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
I remember when I was I think 8 years old. I believe I was 8 years old. My cousin came out and told us that he was getting braids. He made a comment about getting dreads, sorry. And then I remember looking at him and saying, "Oh my God, I'm losing my cousin." I technically said that to him, and that's horrible. I totally feel ashamed. Like I'm totally ashamed about that.
That's
But
that's what we thought.
that's what society taught me at that age.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's what I thought. I thought dreads were associated to crackheads. And
Yeah,
that's what it
that's
was. I
true.
know, right?
Just crackheads.
And then do
Yeah.
you guys realize that, especially in the Haitian community, and this is not, I'm not talking current, like present day, but I remember growing up as well, if someone had dreads, like they kind of see that person as a dirty person. I don't mean to be
Or the
offensive
black
or
sheep.
anything, but especially in Haiti, like someone with dreads is considered kind of, you know, dirty. Like someone who doesn't shower, who doesn't, they're kind of like unkept. And that is so not true, because
Right.
they like, actually people that have dreads, especially now, they spend a lot of money to maintain their dreads. They go to the hair salon every, I don't know how often, but they wash, they retwist. I don't know exactly what the
They
process is,
do.
but
They do.
it's really high maintenance. So it was
It
just,
is, and it is actually very expensive.
That is why.
Highly expensive.
yeah, that's true. So I just have to say that I'm so happy that things are changing. We are making progress. And like I said, my focus will be that I need to make sure that the next generation know that our hair is beautiful, even though I don't have it right now, but maybe one day, you never know. Black hair is beautiful. We're beautiful. And however we choose to wear her hair, whether it's black, blue, pink, braided, weave, naturally curly or kinky, we're beautiful. And we're not going to let anyone tell us otherwise. Do you guys
Right.
agree?
I agree.
Totally
And
agree.
once what you just said brought me to a point that I wanted to bring up: black hair and relationships, because you have.
We haven't talked about that.
Yeah, we didn't get to talk about that. Maybe
No.
another episode, right?
Yeah,
it
but
might need its own episode, but let me make a point real quick. I think what I'm trying to say is, people, I once dated a guy who told me that he only likes natural girls. You know, you can't wear weaves, you can't wear braids, and it has to be. So I'm looking at him and I'm like, okay, but my hair is perm, so is that considered natural or not? So it brings me to a point of saying, what is considered natural different
Good question. Yeah.
to many people.
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, Talisha mentioned the same thing yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
For
is
some
true.
people, yeah, for some people, natural means like not chemically straightened. Some people, natural.
Can't hear you, Tell.
For some people, natural means.
How's this? Is this better?
Good.
Better.
That's much better.
Okay, for some people, natural means like not chemically straightened. For some people, natural means
We can't.
No.
Technical difficulties.
So I think what Talisha was trying to say is that for some people, natural means not really wearing anything fake. Is that what you, right?
Right.
Yeah, so especially, we also have to acknowledge the fact that weaves are really in as well. There, a lot of Black women choose to wear weaves. It's a big market. I don't know what the value is, but I'm thinking it's probably $1 billion market. Because,
yeah.
Definitely.
So I think what you're trying to probably get to is that for some people, if they don't wear fake hair, then they consider it natural. So I guess I'm natural.
Right.
I guess I'm not.
You are. I mean, why not? And that would mean that Sarah's not natural because she has braids in.
But
I know.
you know something? I think because of our culture, I don't think people frown upon braids as much. Those like people that actually kind of like adopt this idea that weaves are completely unnatural. I don't think braids are frowned upon as much as weaves, because don't forget, like when you really think and like in her history, especially like in Africa, braids are, a lot of African women wear braids, but you don't really, like, in like villages and stuff like that where they don't really have access to weaves. So I think in some way braids are actually not considered
unnatural.
All right, so I'm back in.
You're back in, Sarah.
Yeah, she's back in. Going back to what you're saying, Jafan, in terms of weave, it is a very high expensive industry. You know, those I've heard, you know, front lace weave will go from anywhere from $200 to $500 depending on how refined or how natural it looks. Right?
I think some of them are even more expensive than 500 guarded.
No, they're like cost like a lot, like 5,000. People are paying that type of money for like a wig. It's the wig, the natural wigs and stuff that the celebrities are wearing are highly expensive.
That's crazy.
Who would have thought that we would have such a great conversation about hair?
Right. It's interesting.
There's so many things to cover.
I know.
Facets.
And so many things that will probably
what Tal was saying about the fertility of Black hair, because there's so much we can do.
Yeah, and there's so much to say that we won't have the time to say, unfortunately. But it was such a nice conversation, and I think a lot of people are going to get a lot from it, especially when you go back and question yourself all the time. Whether should I go natural? Should I not? Is it wrong? Is it so? We don't even know anymore because there's so much judgment going around. So I'm glad we had that conversation, and I'm glad that it was one of acceptance. Right? We've talked about self-love before, and I think it's important that we love ourselves no matter what.
Right.
So
practice practice inclusivity.
That's right. And on that note, we're gonna say goodbye. Right?
Okay. Yes.
So thank you everybody for watching. Our episode air every Thursday at 7 p.m. So we look forward to sharing more with you guys. All right.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Bye.